The History of Our School, Cloneyhurke, by Collette and Ben Whelan.
The School of Cloneyhurke was established in 1908 at its present location in the townland of Benfield. Since then it has served as an educational cornerstone for the local community for many years. It has witnessed countless generations of students pass through its doors, with many teachers too. The current building reflects its long history with renovations and extensions that tell the story of its growth and adaptation over the last century. However, the history of the school predates the school's current location. Built in 1908 at its present location here in Benfield, the school was previously situated at not just one but two different locations. From 1882 till 1908, the school was located at Lark's Turn in the townland of Cleen, and prior to this period, the school was located at the crossroads of Garryhinch, and this marks the beginning of the history of Cloneyhurke National School. As far back as 1872, two schools stood on the crossroads of Garryhinch, one dedicated to the education of the Protestant children and the other dedicated to the education of the Catholic children. These schools would have been established as estate schools on the land of Richard Warburton, the local landowner. The house located on the left of this crossroads is where the Catholic school once stood. The house on the right was rebuilt on the foundations of the walls of the old Protestant school. In 1882, a newspaper reported on a court case between Warburton and the teacher of the Catholic school, Murtagh Dunn. The case involved a dispute over an unfounded eviction of the Catholic children and their teacher, Mr. Dunn, along with the repossession of the school, house and gardens by Warburton. However, the reason for the eviction and closure of the Catholic school by Warburton was due to another ongoing dispute Warburton had with the National Education Board. There was a marked disparity in the number of students enrolled in both schools, the Protestant school having a yearly average of 25 to 30 children in attendance, and the Catholic school having a yearly average of 70 to 100 children in attendance. Furthermore, Mr. Neely, the teacher of the Protestant school, was not a trained teacher, whereas Mr. Dunn, the Catholic teacher, was. Owing to low attendance and an unqualified teacher, the board intended to withdraw funding from the Protestant school and ordered its closure. Warburton responded by closing the Catholic school, integrating the students into his Protestant school to maintain funding. So on July 6, 1882, the Catholic school ceased operations at Garryhinch. This newspaper article, dating from 1882, notes that the teacher, Mr. Dunn, had been teaching the Catholic children at Garryhinch Crossroads for the previous 10 years. Warburton's letters of correspondence with the National Education Board were located in the National Archives, and in these letters Warburton states that both schools have been in operation at this location since 1872. However, further research suggests that these two schools were in operation since the early 1850s. Book rental records for the Garryhinch area indicate that at least one schoolhouse was present at the crossroads since the 1850s. It would not have been uncommon for children of mixed religion to be educated together in estate schools. By 1861, rental records note that a second school had been established on the opposite side of the crossroads, highlighting a division in religious education. When the Catholic school closed in 1882, it relocated to the former gate lodge at the entrance of Cleen House at Lark's Turn, noted here on the map. The Keegans of Cleen House were good enough to offer the premises for the education of the children in the area. Most likely the teacher, Mr. Dunn, also made a move with his pupils from the old school at Garryhinch Crossroads and continued to teach them at the new location. But by 1893, Miss Flood had been appointed the new teacher and head of the school. It was Miss Flood who began seeking a new premises, with a better location for her students as her school continued to flourish with 50 students in attendance daily. In 1898 she began correspondence with the National Education Board, highlighting the overcrowded and cramped conditions her students endured, emphasising the need for new premises, complete with a master's residence. Over the next several years, she campaigned continuously for a new school. By 1908, approval was given, a new site granted, and the construction of a new school complete, with a master's residence to follow. And so stands the school we have today, all thanks to Miss Flood. Within her career as the national school teacher of Cloneyhurke School, Miss Flood also married Martin Keegan of Colleen House in 1906. She reared 2 small children of her own, but sadly she passed away in 1910. It appears that Master Mason, while residing in Portarlington, took up the role of headmaster thereafter and continued to teach up until the 1940s. He and his family are still remembered fondly within the locality. Over the last 164 years, this school has changed locations, from an estate school established by Richard Warburton on the crossroads of his lands at Garryhinch to the gate lodge of Colleen House at Lark's Turn, and now to Benfield. This school has witnessed many children and teachers pass through its doors. Each move has marked a new chapter in its story, shaped by the community it serves and the generations who have learned and taught within its walls. Though the buildings and locations have changed, the spirit of the school, its dedication to learning, growth and belonging, remains steadfast, a living link between the past and the present.
This video is dedicated to all the teachers and students from Cloneyhurke School, past and present.